Anytime a company comes out with something that's new, that's a remake of another product that was legendary and just ridiculously expensive, but a much cheaper version of that same thing, I get a little leery of what we're talking about. Sony's billing this one as different. Let's talk about it. Sweetwater sent me the C80 to try out. This is a not so direct recreation of the Sony C800g, which is legendary. If you've listened to the radio in the last 20 years, inevitably you've heard the sound of a C800g. It kind of looks like this, albeit much larger. It has the ever so telling thing that comes off the back that's actually cooling the tube within the mic itself. That mic is a tube condenser. This is a FET. Both of them have dual capsules to kind of help eliminate that low-end proximity effect that can build up with a mic like this. And both of them have that crazy mid-forward presence that you know and love out of a mic like that. So why are they so similar? A Sony C800g, if you're going to look for one, you're going to spend more than $10,000. You can't have them for less than that, typically. This is $469. It is very much in the direction of a C800g and what I remember about using one. I don't have one in the studio. I don't regularly use one, but I have used C800gs before, and they are a pleasure to use. They do something to the voice that's just finished. The perception is that it takes up so much space while at the same time being very, very focused in all of the good ways that a mic could possibly be. A very flattering top end, a very nice upper mid-range that just makes it really present. There's a weight to that mic that's just really cool. And it sounds good on just about anybody that you put in front of it. This mic reminded me of a lot of those same things. When looking at the very large brush strokes, this is basically a C800g to me. It has those same aspects to it. If I was gonna think about what I want out of a track or a vocal performance in the same way that I would reach for a C800g, I would reach for something like this, that mid-forward thing. Now, if we put those two mics up against each other, which one's going to sound better? Obviously, the one that is 20 times more expensive. There's just some things you can't reproduce at a budget level. That said, this is not 20 times worse than that microphone, and that's the key point to remember here. Like I said, it does have the same dual capsule build as the C800g. You get a low cut, you get a pad. I do wish that pad was a little heftier. I want a little more of a pad than 10 dB because when I'm going into something like a 1073 or a 1084, this is a very high output mic and it can saturate the preamp pretty early depending on the source that you're using. Now, I completely understand why they did that. The market that they seem to be going for with something like this is most of the time going to have like a cheaper interface, possibly noisier preamps, and the harder you push those, the more noise you're going to get. So you really wouldn't need much more of a 10 dB pad in the real world situation. I get that. This is one of my nitpicks here. The shock mount is plastic, but this is like high quality plastic, if that makes any sense, and it seems too easy to put this thing in, and I didn't trust it before, but if you give this a good twist, that mic is not coming out of that shock mount. It's not gonna fall. It is in there. Another appealing thing here, this thing weighs almost nothing. I could use this on a gooseneck, attach it to my desk, and I don't have to worry about this thing being too heavy to move things around. It's not going to knock anything over. On the amount of time that I have had this, I have been able to use it on a few different sources, a singer-songwriter. The thought process behind using it in something like this, I can hear it on a vocal, I can hear it on a guitar, and when you're stacking the same mic, sometimes the weaknesses or strengths will kind of make themselves apparent in a very simplified mix. So I had a singer-songwriter come by, we recorded the vocal and then the guitar on separate tracks using just this microphone. So let's listen to the vocal solo, then the guitar, then both together.
I feel alone, all the pressure to fit. There had to be something more than this. I can feel the way that all the trees feel when all of their leaves fall.
You'll notice from those tracks, there's not much going on. They're relatively unprocessed. There's a little bit of auto-tune on the voice. There's a little bit of compression on that vocal just to kind of give it a little bit more attitude. And the acoustic guitar is not processed whatsoever. Both of those are sent to a reverb, and that is giving it a little bit of space. But it is stacking very, very nicely. I don't feel like I have to add low end to it. I don't feel like I have to add top end to it. It's just done. And I think that's the appeal of a mic like this. Using it in a different context, I wanted to try it out on drums, and I would put it in a normal spot, like a close room mic, right above the kick drum, kind of pointed towards the snare. But we wanted to try something different. We actually put this behind the drummer's head, kind of up in this position, pointing it towards the snare. I was really surprised with the results. Let's take a listen. With a little bit of compression, you get this. And now if we listen in the context of the entire mix, you'll see this mic kind of centered around the sound for the whole drum kit.
And he was heading out of the Delta land. A few words I can't recall, the one I can't forget's when he said,
if you had one of these, you could use it on vocals, you could use it on acoustic, you could use it on drums in that position and get a usable sound on everything. I was very surprised with this on drums, and that's probably where I will be employing it most. Because I can't say that about every mic that I have in my locker, that it sounds good in that position. Most of them don't. It's surprising that this one sounded good on the vocal, on the acoustic, and on the drums in that position. And it takes EQ well, and I could compress the mic without hearing any general frequency range fall apart on me. This is not a C800G though. In a lineup, this one's gonna lose. It's gonna happen. This is $469. That mic is over $10,000. Who is this for? I think this is for anybody who needs kind of a one and done microphone. If you're a singer-songwriter, if you're doing a whole lot of different stuff, if you have a home studio and you just need one mic that is like the 70% time microphone, this is a really good option. If you don't have a killer interface or you're not using killer preamps and you don't have a lot of headroom to push in, this is high output. This is gonna work for you. Obviously, if you have a whole lot of legendary microphones in your collection already, this may not be a look for you. If you already have that mic that does the pop thing for you, this may not be for you. But if you don't, and you want those, and you want that quick finished sound, this gets you pretty darn close. Personally, I really like this microphone. I'm more than happy to recommend it to you guys, and somehow I've kind of become the microphone channel on here recently. I'm getting a whole lot of stuff to play with. Some of it you've seen, a lot of it you haven't, because if I don't like it, I'm not going to show it. This one is one that I do like. Anyway, guys, if you're interested in this microphone, I'll put a link to it down below. There will be an affiliate link that goes back to Sweetwater. It supports the channel more than you could imagine. If you like this one, hit the like button, hit subscribe for more. I am Resident Loser Jeremy. I will see you in the next one.